The latest season of Man into the Wild begins. How hard it is for a chick to get a bite of fish. A spider with the size of a fist. Even if you risk being bitten to death, the young woman's frightened neck turned red. But I only catch one spider a day. You can almost catch a fish. They eat grilled fish here every day. This challenge takes place in the jungles of Colombia. It's hot and rainy here. The environment is very humid. Little Latiao crawling everywhere. Cute little cats can be seen everywhere. This time the hero is Milo. I'm very excited to be here. Going wild was the craziest thing he ever did. Milo is an Amish. They have no running water or electricity. A carriage is their most high-tech tool. The daily work was to make the horses plow the fields. Even when he was poor as a child, but he was still very happy. When he turns 18 and comes of age, he bought a train ticket to Florida to look for work. All I had left was $20. Good thing he got a construction job. In Milo's mind, the Amish do everything themselves, you know? No electricity, no running water. To put it bluntly, tribal natives of developed countries. Milo is one of the few Amish with an open mind. I'm here for 21 days of hippies. It's weird for him, but the other person thinks that the other person is a girl. I felt less awkward all of a sudden. This time female X. She's a sexy 38-year-old girl. The jungle here is very thick. She felt excited and nervous. X is a fitness instructor. Started exercising at the age of 15. When I was a kid, I was always bullied by my classmates because I was too thin. She vowed to make herself strong. It's a habit she's stuck with for decades. She's here for 21 days of high survival. Because he died 6 years ago, she had an allergic reaction. The doctor gave her antibiotics and she died. He was resuscitated by doctors 4 more times. That's when she found meaning in making fire. So the high guy who came here survived for 21 days. The fact that she died once has nothing to do with this challenge. Actually, it doesn't matter at all. Although she is a 38-year-old girl. But it's been 2 days since she showed off her cup size in front of strangers. Today is the day of high survival. Makes her feel a little out of place. But I chose to have the cheek to face it. It may be a jungle here, but it looks like a lot of crops. X is eager to meet his teammates. I hope my teammates aren't pussy. X may be strong, but no experience of survival. After the two met, X asked for a match. She's happier than Milo. Milo didn't know why she was so excited. I had to laugh along. They were talking about survival skills. Milo is good at building shelters. He can build a shelter on his own. You can make fires and traps. X is very good at suffering. She did triathlons. Willpower is supposed to be strong. The two examine the equipment they have brought. X brought a machete, and Milo brought fishing tools, and the iron pot and the firearm provided by the show crew. They're 10 kilometers from the evacuation point. The two plan to build a shelter in the middle of the road to survive. Opening day. The jungle is very humid and hot. The long walk at the beginning was also a challenge. The mountain path is rough and difficult to walk. People who don't exercise. The first day of walking must be very tiring. In 3 hours, they came here at last. The two plan to take shelter in the front, but it's too high. They're going to jump from here. So high up here. There are only 2 outcomes to jumping from here. Fall or die. X jumped first. Good thing there were no surprises, huh? Next up is Milo. He hesitated for a long time, but in the end, he chose to jump. The dive was very exciting for them. Come here and dance once a day. It's gonna be awesome. The two search for a place nearby to set up shelter. It's flatter here, and it's close to water. After confirmation, they started cutting down bamboo to build shelters. Milo found these resources very useful to him. Can't wait to show off your woodworking skills. X thought Milo was a nice guy. The first impression is polite, but I don't know if I turn into a monster at night. Take the cut bamboo to the shelter. Now they are hungry and tired. They don't have a fire yet. X filled a tray of water directly into the stream. Drinking raw water is more dangerous, but as long as it doesn't kill you. So what's a few stomach tugs? It'll be dark in an hour. They must set up shelter as soon as possible. In the end, even the shelter was not built. The fire was not kindled. That's a pretty impressive start. Just grab a rug and start resting. Time to the next day. Milo noticed that he had put on a few pounds. The thigh began to swell from mosquito bites. X's face is uglier than a bitter melon. Today they will continue to build shelters. Collecting bamboo is a big job. Carrying bamboo is even harder. Good thing X looks like a cow. Otherwise Milo's the only one who's gonna die. They plan to build a sloping shelter. Such shelters are simple to set up, but the space is small and the practicability is not high. Fortunately, there are more resources nearby. They soon set up a shelter. Collect palm leaves for mattresses. It'll make you feel better at night. After building the shelter, they also need a fire. X found a coconut shell on the ground. This is very good raw tinder. Milo has been bitten all over. When I was fixing tinder, Milo talked about wearing diapers. X looked puzzled when he heard this. Maybe it's the native life of this high guy right here. It's a little overwhelming. After collecting the tinder, next is the fire. Milo prayed that the fire would be successful, or you'll be killed by a mosquito net at night. He was scraping with a poker. Soon the fire was lit. Having a fire means you're on track. The two were in no hurry to find food, talking in the shelter instead. Milo is a native Amish, so their way of life is completely different from others. X loved to hear Milo brag. Milo said, "The Amish canon. Women do all the housework." When X heard this, he was speechless. She was disgusted with this way of life. She doesn't want to spend her life doing housework. At night, they have a complete shelter. I feel a lot better when I sleep. Time came to the third day. Their plan today is as bad as ever. Mick thinks if you keep working at a high load, probably won't make it to day 21. So slow down your life. To put it bluntly, I just want to lay there and rot. But X does not agree with this approach. She wants to collect food. The two men had their first disagreement. X went to collect firewood, but Mick thinks she used up a lot of energy. A high guy wants to fuck it up. A high guy wants to work. We said we'd do it together. Do not work themselves, and do not allow others to work. X thinks, I'm a physical trainer. She is used to doing hard labor. I'm not used to letting her rot. It made her feel insulted. X's affection for Milo was fading. Milo is Amish. These natives like to demand obedience from women, so it's the same here. Minogue says he doesn't want to control her, just looking for someone to rot with. When X returned to the shelter, Milo apologized to her. Anyway, X doesn't like Milo. Time came to the 6th day. They've been rotten for a week. X was completely conquered. When they feel hungry, I just thought I'd start fishing. They saw many small fish in the water. How do they plan to fish? X wants to connect the hooks. This allows you to catch multiple fish at once. They pulled the fishing line across to the opposite bank, then tie a hook to the fishing line. You need bait to fish. X found a water spider on the shore. Milo wants to catch it. Grab his feet with your hands. Persuade him to be bait for a day. The water spider trembled with fear. I had to reluctantly agree. Milo strung the spiders together as bait. I hope we catch some fish. The time came to the 7th day. Milo checks the fishing gear. I really caught a fish. This fish is not a small one. X was clapping his hands like a fool. I've been hungry all week, and I finally got to eat. They roast the fish straight up. This is the first time I've seen fish baked like this. First bite of meat in a long time. They've waited a long time for this moment. This fish won't fill you up, but I can get over it. The meat is good enough. What more food can a bad performer expect? The time came to the 8th day. X tried to catch a spider again today, because the first fish was caught with a spider. Water spiders are big, even though he was scared. But to be able to eat, she chose to grab it with her hands. I finally caught a spider. She was scared like a fool. Milo laughed at her. X wants to take it to Milo, but Milo told her to hang it straight from the hook. At this point she was scared silly. You can't put a spider on a hook. Milo kept telling her to be brave. It's hard to beat a teammate like that. Suddenly the spider crawled onto X's hand. She was so scared she peed. His face and neck turned red with blood. The feeling of a small animal crawling on your hand is really disgusting. When Milo caught the spider, she just got her breath back. Let's hope this spider brings them food. Otherwise X will lose a lot of money. At night, the sky suddenly began to rain heavily. There was a leak in their shelter. The fire was also wet from the rain. The time came to the 9th day. Last night was the best night they ever had. This morning they decided to perfect the shelter again. Milo plans to build a larger shelter out of bamboo. With bamboo, building a shelter is very simple. Respread the roof with branches. Why don't they put palm leaves on it? The shelter isn't ready yet. Suddenly there was a loud running sound. It is expected to rain heavily in the distance. There is a real risk of flooding. The water is rising very fast. They are very worried about the shelter being flooded. The sky thundered. It rained heavily in the evening. They were too scared to sleep, keeping an eye on the water. The time came to the 10th day. This position must not be seen by others, because people would say he's crazy. The shelter is well established, and they have bamboo sleeping mats. They drink water almost every day to satisfy their hunger. X used to love to work, and now he's a loser. Time came to the 11th day. X is looking for water spiders on the shore again, although she was afraid of spiders, but it was the only fishing bait she could find. Soon she found a spider. This time I wasn't as scared as before. Apparently she's starting to get over her fear of spiders. Milo taught her how to hook a spider as bait. X began to see the man differently again. I suddenly realized Milo wasn't who he thought she was. Fishing with one spider at a time. That's a pretty low success rate. Time came to day 12. Today they actually caught 2 fish. That's a lot of luck. They need the fish very much. The two spent every day catching water spiders on the shore. X had lost all fear of it. A decoy is set out every night. You catch a fish the next day. Their method of fishing with spiders has been very successful. I catch spiders on the shore every day. X also learned to use the hook to pierce the bait. The time came to day 16. Besides fishing every day, they also need to collect firewood. X found a spicy strip, though small, but it's very toxic. No matter how toxic you are, both of these devils are dead. Today is the first time they've tried barbecued meat other than fish. It tastes good too. The time came to day 18. It'll be over in 2 days. They're already discussing plans for how to get out. X plans to swim out, but Milo is not a very skilled swimmer. X is teaching him how to swim. I haven't been swimming in a long time, but Milo's still a pretty good swimmer. Milo taught X how to fish. Now X is teaching Milo how to swim. Two people swim in the water very happy. The night of the 20th day. I'll be out of here tomorrow. The two could not sleep at night talking. Time came to day 21. They set out early that morning. Half the distance to go. Though it's a long way, but I can get my money back and be happy. Even if you break your legs, you have to climb to the extraction point. In 5 hours, they finally reached the evacuation point. So who else is going to challenge here next? Look forward to an update in the next video.